welcome to those of you who are able to catch our station signal through the vast radiological interference surrounding our dear and war-torn planet. I'm Dutch Dutcherson, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-anchor, Pearl, the Stomper Rodriguez. It certainly is a beautiful day on this cold and callous planet that we once called the United States of America, isn't it, Stomper?
It sure is, Dutch. Reports have shown that radiation levels have decreased by 0.03% in the past month. Officials at the Nakatomi Osborne Corporation have reported the airability of the Earth has decreased from 774 years to 770.
Great news, Stomper. Well, now would be a perfect time to announce that this broadcast, as well as all broadcasts in the foreseeable future, is brought to us by the generous people over at the Nakatomi Osborne Corporation. Nakatomi Osborne, just because it's the end of the world, doesn't mean your life is over.
Many thanks to the Nakatomi Osborne Corporation. I, for one, do not know where I would be without their products and services.
Indeed, Stomper. Now to our top story for the day. As you, dear viewer, probably already know, through a series of violent uprisings and contamination leaks, our station has whittled itself down to just myself, Pearl, the Stomper Rodriguez, and Jim with Sports and Weather. However, it would appear that even these lower numbers is still too much to maintain life here at the KMBT News Desk. We are in possession of just one more box of Nakatomi Osborne anti-radiation medication.
That's right, Dutch. After the airlock leak 6 months ago caused by a mutated possum infestation, these little pills are the only thing keeping any of us alive.
How true, Stomper. Without these wonderful life-giving pills, certainly all of our body cells will be multiplying at such a rapid rate that the mutations incurred would kill us in just over the span of a couple of days.
That's right. And where would you be, dear viewer? That's why we're asking you to call in and vote for which among the three of us will get to enjoy these pills and have a lifelong extension of this miraculous piece of rock we call home.
You see, dear viewer, through a series of violent shouting matches and carefully worded threats, the remaining employees here at KMBT have decided that it would be best if only one of us received this last box of medication. That way, one lucky newsman, or woman, would be able to stay alive long enough for the generous and kind souls over at the Nakatomi Osborne Corporation to see our message and replenish our supply.
And one can only hope that will be sometime soon, as this supply will only last the winter 3 weeks at most.
So who will it be, most exalted viewer? Will you choose me, most venerable and reliable newsman Dutch Dutcherson? Or will it be my lovely and eternally frightening co-anchor, Pearl the Stomper Rodriguez? Or will you choose to throw away your vote and choose Jim with Sports and Weather?
Good evening, Dutch and Stomper. Our top story.
No, Jim with Sports and Weather, we do not want you right now. When it is your turn to speak, I will pull your leash 3 times. I thought I made that abundantly clear the last time we had this incident.
I'm sorry, Stomper. I just thought that I...
No, Jim, you didn't think. Your puny sportscaster brain is incapable of forming anything resembling a human thought. If you would like to think, you will call upon Dutch or myself to think for you. Is that absolutely clear?
Yes, Stomper. It won't happen again.
Well, just out of misplaced morbid curiosity, Jim with Sports and Weather, what was the top story in Sports and Weather?
Our top story in Sports and Weather today is a stunning upset of heads over tails in a 73-27 rout that occurred just now in the Sports and Weather box. Please do expect an interview with the winning side of the quarter as soon as I'm allowed to speak again. Thank you.
Very good, Jim. Now back to your box.
Now, as previously determined, each newscaster will state her or his case in the form of the highest achievement in journalism, the human interest piece. By order of seniority and size of ego, Dutch will go first.
Thank you, Stomper. Picture, my fellow citizens of this new forsaken existence. Picture an America where the soul-crushing monotony of survival isn't on your mind from the moment you wake up to the moment you lay your weary head down, whatever piece of filth it is you're calling our home these days. Picture an America where hope isn't just a full-letter word that makes you recoil with grief and regret so palpable that makes your stomach turn more than you can because it's been expired 10 years. Picture the America just beyond the horizon. It's beautiful, isn't it? Can you see that America, dear viewer? Are you picturing it in your mind's eye? Now, I want you to focus long and hard on whose voice it is you hear narrating this rich tapestry of your newfound faith and optimism in a better future. It's faint at first, but as you listen closer, you can tell that it's a voice you've known for many years. Well, I'll be damned if it isn't good old Dutch Dutcherson. His warm and inviting voice invites you out of the rubble of your life and into a place of courage and faith and joy. His warmness and wisdom keeps your heart warm and full. I want... We're not meant to go through this alone. We're supposed to go through this together. We're meant to walk side by side through the valley, through the garden. We're meant to walk side by side through the garden of paradise together. Draw strength from you. Oh. In other news, my wife left me a note that I found in my jacket pocket. She was always leaving me notes in different places. This one said, "I'll always think you're the best, Dutch." Usually they were just reminders, like, don't forget the milk, Dutch. Don't forget Jamie has a soccer game tonight, Dutch. Sometimes I didn't notice them for weeks. Notice a lot of things. It's too late for that now. I wish I knew where she was. I would tell her that I loved her. I would tell her how much I care. Let's make time for one another, America. Let's tell our loved ones that we love them. Back to you, Scott.
Heartfelt words from a heartfelt man. A moving story, Dutch, but is it the whole story? Our KMVT investigative team has recently unearthed some new developments in the tale of one Dutch Dutcherson. Our story opens with a young correspondent, fresh out of journalism school. Pearl Rodriguez was filled with hope and spunk until her world was corrupted by one Dutch Dutcherson.
Stop, you don't have to do this, stop.
This investigative team has welcomed Pearl Rodriguez herself to join us in the studio today. Pearl, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us how this all began?
Well, I was filing my first report, and Dutch was in the editing bay giving me feedback. And I was really flattered that he had taken an interest in me because I had always watched him when I was growing up, and he was the inspiration for why I became a newscaster. And he said to me, make sure that you show the newcomers you care, like I was. And he put his hand and said, there's a way to show that you care right now. And I tried to get away from him, but I
This isn't true. I would never be unfaithful to Martha. She was the light of my life.
Dutch, I am giving an interview and you are interrupting. You had your turn, now give me mine. Where were you, Pearl?
Well, I would stay after at the studio and edit footage for the next day. Dutch would hang around and wait for me. And all he would ever talk about is how there was no love in his marriage anymore. Couldn't look his wife in the eye. He was so lonely. At first, I was really flattered, but after a while, it was like he just couldn't control himself. One night, he pushed me down, and he would do the most horrible.
Every marriage has its low points. Look, you know that. People make mistakes. That's inevitable. You're the one who tempted me. You're a goddamn temptress. Dear viewer, one dalliance surely doesn't mean that I don't deserve that last box of medication. Remember all the good times we've had over the years. Don't let this she-witch separate us.
Well, that concludes our interview. It's now time that we turn to Jim with sports and weather. Unless there's anything you'd like to add, Dutch.
Just that a report has just come in that Pearl the Stomper Rodriguez is, in fact, the evil that lies in all women's hearts.
Thank you for that update, Dutch. Please keep us updated on any further developments. Now we turn to Jim with sports and weather.
Well,
How is the voting going?
the voting has been non-existent. Stomper, the phone you two gave me isn't connected to anything. And in fact, don't remember the last time I've seen a real-life working telephone. I have no idea how I'm going to count these votes.
Thank you, Jim with sports and weather. Now, feel free to state your plea to the American public whenever you're ready.
No, I am not going to do that.
Well, that makes sense, seeing your success probability was negligible at best.
I'm not going to do that because I took all the radiation medication and replaced the pills in the box with the leftover teeth of the mutated possums.
That medication was supposed to be taken over the course of 3 weeks. Your kidneys should be just about ready to burst right about now.
Yeah, that's right, Dutch. I'm in more agony than I've ever felt in my entire life. Now, if you and Stomper wouldn't mind, I'd like to go back into my box and die now.
Well, I suppose this is it.
The last broadcast.
I still think you're scum.
I am.
Should we read the next story?
I wouldn't know where to start. I'm all out of stories. There are no developments.
Have you ever heard of that time? BBC, I think it was in the 30s or the 20s, when the newscaster said there was no news to report that day, so they just played classical